Okay. A very good evening to all my dear colleagues. My name is Priyanka Jain and I'm a senior manager currently working in Delhi. So, on behalf of COVID Care Foundation, I would like to bring a warm welcome to everyone. So, I appreciate you all are taking time off to join us. And so, we all are aware last year, when the COVID hit us in 2020, we were all, unaware, unconscious, and we were not aware about the repercussions as well, that what's going to happen. Then government guidelines have come and they have given us the measures like wearing masks, doing sanitation, and they did social isolation by imposing complete lockdown. Gradually, we became habitual with this, and we should believe that we became carefree also. Then again, in March 21, this COVID second wave hit us very hard, and death toll increases, death cases increases, and we also lost many of our beloved colleagues in this situation. So, being a youth, we actually instilled a sense of insecurity, a fear, and depression, anxiety among us of losing our relatives, losing our friends, and losing those touch with our family and with people around us. So what it is, it's like we started blaming our government, social media at large. But believe me, it's our role that we have to play. So I believe for better understanding, we pleased to have Dr. Charvi Didwania, who is a psychologist associate with Apollo Hospital. She is a medical therapist. She's a counselor. She worked with many higher education institutions, hospitals, and corporate sectors. So a very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Dr. Chavi, how are you?
Yeah.
Miss Priyanka, thank you so much for introducing me like that. Good evening, guys. Good evening to everyone. Hi, Ranjit. I see you have wished good evening to all of us. Um, Good evening, guys. This is Charvi Didwani. I have been a psychologist I have an working experience as a psychologist for more than 5 years now. I have been working with education sector and corporate right now. Currently, it's been around 3 years since I've been working with corporate sector more. And right now, I feel like it's been more than a year since we've been dealing with COVID and dealing with its, as Priyanka also mentioned, right, its consequences, not only physical but emotional as well. I, as a psychologist, have never seen such a boom in mental health industry as I've seen in this second wave specifically, because this seems, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but this seems as if this is more personal this time. This time we are hearing more news of our near and dear ones. This time it's becoming more and more personal as it was before. And this time, that's the reason why we are not being able to deal with a lot of things. We first of all are not aware of a few things which we might be going through, and second, if we are aware also, we don't know very much how to handle it. And I feel like this session is going to help you out with that.
So, ma'am, for I think better understanding, we should have certain questions in our mind. I believe everyone has in their own mind. So, my first question is you're talking about mental health. What is actually a mental health?
That's a very good question, actually, and I'll tell you that as well. To all of you guys, I can see around 50 people have joined in. I am pretty sure you have heard this word once in your life for sure, specifically maybe right now a lot. What is mental health? And I understand everyone will have their own definitions, but mostly everyone will be able to understand mental health with mood. Everyone associate mental health with mood, right? There are days when I feel really sad, I don't know why. There are days when I just am so angry these days, I get so cranky these days, I get so irritated these days, and that's why I feel like that's why people go to mental health practitioners or counselors or psychologists. There is another side of mental health which people think, which is related to the mental health illness part of it. I want to clarify that these two are entirely separate. And this is very necessary for everyone to understand. Mental health basically pertains to our social life, to our psychological, whatever we must be thinking about, our thoughts, and also with our behavior. So it's very clear, as in whatever you're thinking, however you're behaving, and however you're trying to, relate with the world and yourself. That's simplest mental health understanding. Or I'll give you an example. Hopefully, it will become much more easy. when there are days, right, there are days we have bad days. There are some times when we'll have bad days, right? So maybe I didn't sleep really well at night, and when I woke up in the morning, I'm feeling so cranky because I didn't get a really good sleep. Then I go to office and there are so many things that I have to do today, and it's just so overburdening. And then I try to do it because I do this every day, so I try to do it, but today it just feel as if it's too much. If you've had one of those days, that's what your mental health do. When you have a physical health injury, when you have a hand fractured, you don't try to work with your right hand. You try and you be compassionate, just try and keep it away. But when we have a bad day, or when we know our mood are not really, my mood is not really good, or my tolerance levels are very low, I still try to push and push and push myself. And that's the part why I'm not aware of my mental health, and that's the part where I try to adapt, because we can't see mental health in front of me, right? There's no wound here.
It's
It's
very
just I'm yelling at people. That's the only thing.
Yeah, very true, very true. Ma'am, how this COVID has actually affected our mental health, as people are, started visiting many of the psychologists. So how this has affected us?
See, mental health has been affected by COVID very, very deeply, because it's been more than a year. People have been noticing certain changes which they have never done before. We are pushed to do things which we have never done before. And I'll give you the smallest example. The smallest example is maybe coming on Zoom. Never heard of Zoom, never knew what Zoom is, went on Skype, never happened, right? And then suddenly you had to learn all that. And when you are learning all that, I'm getting so many responses from people that my father keeps yelling at me how to use it, or I small negativities. This is a very small example, but starting from here, communication issues are there, relationship issues are there. You're living with your family, either you're living with your family after a very long period of time, if you are working in another city, or you're separated from your family and your parents are really, really anxious about you, very correct, right?
Yes,
uh, Same way relationship issues are also there, same ways mental health issues, you have a certain fear, and an uncertainty is definitely all around us. We always keep asking ourselves questions. It's been a more than a year since we are asking this question of when this will get over, or when this thing will be normal. And that uncertainty leaves you some sort of helpless. We are restricted, we can't go out of our houses, we are restricted, there are many people whose businesses are stuck, or whose transactions are stuck, or a lot of inconveniences are there for sure. And because of that, we make a certain behavioral or thinking patterns, and we follow that, and we have been following that for a week, for more than a year now. So
yes,
right now, a lot of consequences, as a consequence of that, a lot of mental health issues are coming up, like anger, anxiety, helplessness, stress. Definitely, people are coming to a certain area where they might call us psychologist and say that I feel like there is nothing to life anymore. For a monotony has come in my life. I don't know what
very
else
true.
to do. I just wake up, do my work, eat and sleep. That's the only thing that we are doing. No social, there is no social aspect to our life anymore. And I feel like that's how COVID has affected our life.
Very true, ma'am. So you talk to me about anxiety. People are having helplessness and stress. So what is exactly anxiety? What is stress? What is depression? How will differentiate it? How a person will understand that he is having anxiety? Because in general, people used to say, "नहीं नहीं नहीं तुम ऐसी tension ले रहे हो," and all. And these type of statement you used to hear from the people around. So how you will differentiate that this is anxiety, this is stress? You should go and visit doctor now. What it is, ma'am?
I'll give you an example. I'll give all of you an example. Tell me what will you do in this direction. Let's say, for example, in one fine morning, maybe there's no lockdown in your city, and one fine morning you are walking, right? You're walking, and maybe you're jogging, doing morning walk or something, and then you see a big pile of garbage next to you, right? It's just कचरा रखा हुआ है वहां पे, just really big pile of garbage, disgusting, smelly, bad. What do you do?
What I'll do, I'll get irritated.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay.
See why people are not doing their own duty when it's not been cleared from that place. So this will be my point.
Yeah, could be possible. You'll get irritated, right? Or behavioral wise, what you'll do is you'll cover your nose and
Yes.
run away from there, right? Or maybe contact somebody, whoever needs to remove
Yes.
it. You'll do your duty, right?
True.
What do you think? Do you go to home when all of this is done? You go to home and you have to have your breakfast. Do you feel like no, I can't have breakfast. I just can't take this image of garbage out of my head. Do you?
Yes, yes, very true, very true, very
Right? When you go to your friends and to enjoy, or maybe just go with them to party or something, would you keep remembering the photo of garbage, or would you enjoy more? What will happen to you then? Would you not be able to enjoy because you will say, no, I am not feeling like talking, guys. It's just that
true.
garbage is not.
No, in my case, I don't think so. I'll take it that longer.
Of course, right? And that's the difference between how do you identify if you're in stress or not.
Okay.
Because there are very easy in day-to-day life, in our normal day, there would be many things which will become triggers for creating, irritation, anger, or everything in our head. Maybe I have a meeting and my kid is crying. Of course I'll be irritated, of course I'll be anxious, of course I'll be really stressed. Of course, those are expected reactions.
Yes.
But then these expected reactions, if these you take with you and you're not being able to resolve it for a very long period of time, and it's affecting your day-to-day life, you're not being able to eat, you're not being able to sleep, you're not being able to focus or concentrate on your work, you're not being able to be as social as you were, you're becoming really cranky, and you're not being able to communicate with people the way that you used to do before. That's the clear sign of you need to do something about your stress, because that's the defining factor.
Very nicely explained, ma'am. So nowadays we are hearing about, having a mindful, just be a mindful. And what is that mindfulness exactly? Can you elaborate us?
um, I don't know if this is happening with any of you right now. If this is, please feel free to write it in the chat box. Um, right now, what's happening with everyone is it's too overburdening. Anything that's happening in our life, it's too overburdening, because earlier it was I got up, I got dressed to go to work, I went to work, I did my own thing there, I came back, there is this my family, and we interact and we sleep. I'm not saying there were no ups and downs before. There were ups and downs before as well. But
Yes.
these days we have extra things to take.
Kindly mute yourself, please. Kindly mute yourself.
All please mute yourself except the speakers, please.
Every time that
I am muting all. आप लोग अपने आप को unmute कर लेना दोनों.
ठीक है, sure.
Every time that I'm going for work, my family is anxious for me. I am anxious and I'm a little fearful. Then I'm coming back, whatever I'm doing at work, there are so many things going on in the back of my head, that all the patterns that I've been, it becomes really difficult. I can't go and talk to another person sitting on another desk. I have to maintain that social distance. So many things that we have been going through. We come back home, my kid is not going to school. So my wife is already irritated because she had to handle, along with her work, the kid as well. So she's also in that mood. When I'm going to come, and this is again overburdening. So much overburdening is happening that it's becoming really difficult for us to maintain that level of mindfulness as you're speaking right now. Mindfulness, the difference, the basic definition of mindfulness is, and this a lot of mindfulness therapists use this. It means if you're washing utensils, you should only wash utensils. That's what mindfulness is. Meaning, whatever you're doing, if you can be in present. Do you do this by any chance? You're working and you're thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, or maybe you're on call and then you're thinking about what my multitasking, as we call
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
But rather than multitasking, what happens is we are not focusing on here also, and we are not focusing on here as well. Both the things are not connected in any way at all. And that's where I feel irritated and overburdened. We don't feel to, or we don't have a way to time box everything, and that's what makes it really chaotic. And I feel like it'll be really useful if we actually do some mindfulness techniques right now. Do you think it's possible? Can we do some mindfulness techniques right now?
For that, we need you, ma'am. So, as you said, we have to be, mindful. So, what lifestyle changes should we adapt during this, situation?
Priyanka,
Where
Priyanka, for a pause, Charvi would like to demonstrate a mindfulness activity.
If we can do
So
one
she can do
mindfulness,
it and everybody can follow.
sure, sure, sure.
it'll help. Okay, it'll be
Yeah, sure.
really lovely. I'm going to make everyone do. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you so much. There are going to be two techniques which we are going to do, which is going to help you out in being mindful. And you can see the effect right now, just right away. Okay. So I want all of you, and I can see many of you are outside and many of you are not in a place where you can close your eyes. So if it's not a possibility for you to close your eyes, that's completely okay. But if you can, I want you to follow me. Okay. I want you to just simply do one thing. Close your eyes, everyone, for a second. Inhale through your nose. Everyone inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth very slowly. Inhale through your nose one more time. And exhale through your mouth very slowly. I want you to take your hands and keep it over your chest. And inhale. And exhale. Take these hands now and keep it behind your head. Close your eyes again. Inhale through your nose. Feel the warmth of your palms and exhale very slowly. Move your hands a little bit up. Same way in your head, just move your hands a little bit up. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth very slowly, feeling every part of your nerves, every part of your head getting relaxed. Now, last thing, we are going to keep our hands on the front of your head. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth very slowly. One last time. Keep your hands on your face. Repeat it on your own by inhaling through your nose. And last time, exhale slowly using your mouth. And open your eyes slowly. Tell me how it feels. This is the first technique where you can use mindfulness and your body suddenly calms down. The reason why we need mindfulness is because your body, specifically your brain, becomes overactive these days. And it's really easily possible to make your brain go overactive. You right now anyway have a low tolerance for everything that's happening right now. Apart from the low tolerance, what's happening here is when we get triggered, our body sort of reacts, our nervous system reacts. Thank you so much. Our nervous system reacts, and when our nervous system reacts, our brain gets a message of I need to take care of this. And when the brain gets a message of I need to take care of this, it starts working. When it starts working, neurons are getting fired, meaning the whatever nerves we have in our head, it fires. When it fires, what happens is our creativity increases, our imagination increases, and a lot of thoughts, a stream of thoughts come to our head. And when there is stream of thoughts in your head, that's when it becomes really difficult for you to concentrate. It becomes really difficult for you to come back on present. कभी ऐसा हुआ है, has ever this happened with any of you कि बैठे बैठे सोच रहे हैं कि this is अभी tomorrow I have to do this, I have to call this person tomorrow, and then I'm also imagining कि वो मुझे क्या बोलेगा, and then फिर what am I going to reply, and then उसके बाद में फिर I'm also imagining कि अच्छा उसके बाद क्या होगा, and then फिर उसके बाद क्या होगा, and then उसके बाद में फिर ऐसे 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 करके I don't know, I went till 6 months. So I started from as a Earth, but I landed on some another planet, right? All the time, of course.
Overthinking.
Of course, overthinking, and it leads to overthinking because your brain is very active. Or whenever this happens with someone, most of the day, at night also it becomes really difficult for you to sleep. At night also it becomes really difficult for you to relax. Your brain is exhausted, your body is exhausted, but it does not shut up. And that's why we need mindfulness, because it helps you shutting up your brain, right? So it helps you in a way that it calms your nervous system down. So when it calms your nervous system down, your brain gets a message of it's completely fine now, it's okay now, I can relax. And the firing somehow reduces. And when the firing somehow reduces, the thoughts also decreases. So this is one of the techniques that you can use. The second technique which I feel like people can use, and all the techniques that I'm going to tell you today is going to take less than a minute, and I'm going to introduce those techniques to you because we most of the times tell ourselves time किसके पास है, कौन करेगा बैठ के, breathing time ही नहीं है. So rather than saying that all the time, I feel like you can make 1 minute, less than 1 minute for yourself, because it's very very necessary that you do that. क्योंकि at the end ये complain करने से कि नींद नहीं आ रही है, उसकी बजाय it will always be a better option to do this technique once or twice a day in between. So when you reach till the sleeping time, it will be not as difficult as it is normally for you. Okay? So the second technique simply would be, and this is a very simple technique, you have to close your eyes, and again you can first see me and then close your eyes. It is called emotional freedom technique by mindfulness. You just have to tap here. Just close your eyes, inhale, exhale, and tap here. Very slowly. I said you don't need to too hard, just very slowly. You have to tap, keep tapping. Okay. You have to just repeat it 3 or 4 times. That's it. Not more than that. You just take 2, 3, or 4 breaths. Use 2 fingers of yours. These 2 fingers of yours. Keep it here and tap it very slowly and very. Just that's it.
In between the eyebrows, na? In between the eyebrows.
Eyebrows a little bit. Just close your eyes. Inhale. The more you will practice this, the more you will understand how relieving it is for your mind. And also, if anyone here has because we see laptop these days a lot, or phones at least, we will see, look from here, right? So a lot of people have pain in eyes and headache, so this will help in your headache and pain in the eyes also, for sure. All right. Okay. Next question, you can tell me.
So, ma'am, as you are very much aware that nowadays there's a lot of social media, news, we can have an access, So we are watching more and more, and even after watching news for half an hour or you say 1 hour, we become so anxious. This anxiety is coming into our mind that, oh my God, this is happening, that is happening, and we start blaming each and others that this is not okay. So, what would you suggest? Like how limited we should do ourselves, to that content. Means what should be the limitations for these things, and how we keep ourselves calm during the situations when everything is available to us.
See, what happens is specifically related to news and media right now. What's happening is, and there are people I feel like who can support me here. It has 2-3 factors. One factor is it has become a little dramatic, right? So it's not only news, there is loudness, there is visually, it's too bright, and too much information comes into our mind very very fast, right? Second thing is the repetitiveness of it. We see the repeated news coming a lot. And third thing is there are a lot of fake news also with WhatsApp and social media and everything all around us. So these 3 factors affect us more than you can think about, because it easily is possible. Right now, the situation is not really good out. The situation is not really well, and it's really okay, actually completely okay, if you're not feeling positive right now. Anyone who comes to me to take counseling, I always tell them it's completely okay if you're not positive. It's completely fine if you're not positive. The world is not that way right now. But it's always it becomes your responsibility, and it's always really bad if you're completely negative. If you're telling yourself sentences, obsolete sentences like nothing is going to happen now, everything is going to get ruined now. If you're telling yourself complete negative sentences, those are really harmful for your mental health. And I feel like that's what news does to us, because we keep on hearing these repetitive sentences of complete negativity. And when we hear this so many times, it tend to affect us for sure. There is a emotion of anxiety, there is an emotion of anger, there is an emotion of, for sure, an uncertainty, helplessness that we are feeling when we are looking at news or when we are reading the news again and again. So I feel like the question that you asked about limit, right? I feel like every 6 hours, going there for 10 to 15 minutes would be completely okay. If you can't stop yourself for 6 hours, you can always start with 3 hours. Every 3 hours, I'm going to go check for 5 minutes. The same news is going to get repeated. There are many ways that you can get updated about COVID. There are many ways that you can get updated about other things as well, what's happening in the world. Try, and specifically if it has started affecting you, if you feel anxious whenever you look at news or you hear news also, and news is not only in television, news is what you're reading also, and what you're sharing with your friends and your
Yes, very true.
family members as well. So if this is already affecting you, if your tolerance level has come down really low, try and understand that this is for you. It's not like if you're not reading the news, you're not getting updated. You anyway are going to get updated, and getting updated, you have different means. Go to a newspaper, read the headlines, that's it for yourself. And do it when you feel a little more comfortable. Whenever you feel, maybe don't do it in the morning. The first start of our day should not be as negative as we are making ourselves to do. Specifically when your kids are at home now. When your kids are at home now, spend some time with them, and maybe in the night or during the afternoon, sometime read the news rather than reading it in the morning. Also, we have so many ways of reaching to news right now. So many notification comes into your phone whenever something happens. So don't worry about not being able to be updated. You will be updated. Take care of yourself first. That's more than necessary.
So you said self-care. That is very much important first of all. Then you should access the social media and just go through it. So that's a very good thing. I will not take much time, ma'am. But one more question is like, since we are very optimistic people, because we believe this COVID situations will be over. Then what do you think the social isolation that has been imposed? Now people are afraid to be in touch and all. So after when the COVID situation will be over, whether the things will be in a normal position, how long it will take for people to become usual in their own routines and all. What do you think about that?
Okay. I will answer this question, but first I'm really intrigued by one word that you said, self-care, right? And I feel like this is a part which is very, very necessary that I explain this, because a lot of people, first in India, this tendency of, if I take care of myself, I should feel guilty. That's something that a lot of people follow, that I have other 1,000 things to take care of, I can't take care of myself. This is one assumption that is very necessary, and I'm really actually very happy that it's going away these days. How many people are here affected by neck ache, backache, shoulder ache, all these things when you're slouching in front of laptop, or you're lying down the way that you are, or whatever? How many people are getting affected by that?
I think most of them.
Yeah, so you are just write in the chat box. But and how many of you are completely ignoring it? Ignoring it in the sense that it will go away, like it will be fine. I know I use my phone a lot with this thumb, so this part of my hand is aching a little bit. I'll not stop working on my phone. I'll still keep doing it, but I'll apply move and it will be fine. That's a really unhealthy way to take care of yourself, and that's what a lot of people opt to do. And that's what I want to clarify with each and everyone. Taking care of yourself makes it's a very simple thing. You need to take care of yourself, even though if you don't have, like, it should not come to last resort. If it's coming till last resort that you're taking care of yourself, that means it's a really big problem. For example, what do you do the first thing that you get up in the morning? What do you do? All of you.
Yeah, we're going to washroom, brushing your teeth, and I'm not touching the phone. First of all, I'm not touching the phone for sure. So that is the thing. We take water and all. So daily routine activities, nothing new.
Got it. Okay, drink hot water. That's amazing. That's amazing. What all other things you do to take care of yourself? And I'm not talking only about physical body. We do take care of our physical body. How many of you are exercising?
Just started because we are getting time. Otherwise, we are not that exercise.
Okay. How many of you take some time for yourself? Because right now so much is happening around us in our whole daily days as well. How many of you are taking care of yourself by just you go for a walk? Lovely, Udam.
Many people have answered. Go for a walk. Uday.
Amazing. I'm really happy that you go for a walk. So if you're doing that, that's completely okay. But that's lovely. But if you're not doing that, there are few self-care tips that I want to give all of you, because this is very, very necessary. One thing is, make some time for yourself. Make sure. Otherwise, what's happening, and I'm getting this response from a lot of people, when you're not taking care of yourself or taking a pause or your time within the day, you're waiting everyone to go asleep, and then you are maybe spending some time with yourself and you're not sleeping really well. So if this is happening with you, please make up some time for yourself for sure during the day. Apart from that, it's very, very, very necessary that you do some sort of relaxation exercises as well. Even if you're not doing physical exercises every day, make sure that you do some kind of stretches every day for sure. Because when we sit around, or even if we are not sitting, we are doing field work and everything also, my body gets rigid. It's tired for sure, but my muscles are rigid because I didn't get enough time to stretch it out. So it's very necessary you take out 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your time, 10 minutes of your day, and stretch your body a little bit. Even if you're not doing cardio, stretch out your body. It's very important to stretch out your muscles. How many of you do take care of your drinking water, eating lunch, dinner? Are you being aware of that also? Can you remember every 1 hour I need to, it's time I need to drink some water? Or काम में इतना ज़्यादा you're focused that you forget about these things? Right? This is also very small part of your self-care. You do that as well. It's very necessary that you take care of your drinking, you take care of your drinking water. Are you hydrating your body enough, or are you eating enough for sure? All right. Okay. It can go really, really deep, and I feel like many people are going to ask about this anyway. So I'm going to talk about self-care later in the question and answers. Last question which you answered, and I want to, breathing exercises. If you are doing, that's amazing. Other things than breathing, I feel like, Priyanka, we're going to take this question in Q&A first. Okay. I'm just going to finish the post-COVID answer first. Post-COVID is going to become, it's not going to be easy. Of course, it's going to take a lot of change. But I feel like if human beings have this one thing which is amazing, genetically amazing in us, is a tendency to adapt. We never ever worked from home before. We never in our life thought that we will be locked down in our homes. Never ever thought. It took some challenges for sure, but we were able to adapt to it. So that I have a positive hope of, that people will be adapted to it. Second thing, I do understand there will be apprehension still. There will be apprehension still, because the uncertainty feeling, or the helplessness of the feeling of helplessness that we are carrying right now with us, it becomes really difficult for you to leave that and just simply go. So it's going to take some practice, but I have a feeling the more people repeat positive talk for themselves, that's always going to help out. It's a simple tendency of always imagine yourself sitting in a room. And if you're sitting in a room, every 5 minutes is somebody is opening the door and telling you something, what would you like it to say? That's what you do with your brain. Every 5 minutes you open the door and you say, you're not doing really well. Something really bad is going to happen to you. If every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you're going to repeat that, it's of course is going to have effect on you. So positive self-talk is very important part of self-care. You need to understand and believe that your thoughts are not the facts. whatever you think throughout the day and whatever your emotion is throughout the day, those are not necessarily true. Just because you're feeling angry, that doesn't mean that something bad has happened. You're feeling angry because your thought supports that anger. It's going to get if you come to counseling or you go to a counselor or psychologist, it gets really really sorted right now. And if you feel, any of you here, if you feel you're going through something similar, you can ask a question here in this Q&A that's going to happen right now, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get your answer.
So, ma'am, we have a question from Shipra. Can I ask you?
Yeah, I think
Before we take up question and answers, na Priyanka, we would like to touch upon few points also. In
Okay.
fact, see what is happening, Ms. Charvi ji, ki a lot of things are happening. People are facing anxiety, bouts, panic attacks, and we have seen some cases wherein people who are recovering from COVID have their mental health have taken for a toss. Some people are taking drastic actions, and some people have suicidal thoughts. So, we as bankers also work in a very very high pressure jobs,
it's true.
and many a times due to pressure by superiors or customer pressure or peer pressure of performance, some people have the suicidal tendencies. So how can we address it? Because we already have a pressure and then plus COVID. So how can we address that?
See, suicidal tendencies, first of all, there's nothing wrong to think as if if I have reached to this point, that means I don't have any other option. If I'm thinking about, if I'm getting suicidal ideation in my head, that means I can't do anything about it, and I don't know what to do. You don't need to reach to that point. You need to understand, if you're reaching to that point, it means just one single thing, that you're overpressured and you're overwhelmed. That means you need a support. That means you need to have a support right now. And right now means, right, I'm going to Ravindra, I'm going to forward a website or maybe a document to you, which is going to have all the phone numbers and everything about every multiple suicide helplines, and specifically if anyone can go, or city wise it's going to have that description. So that's definitely going to help you out. You can forward that. Second thing is, what happens here is, if you take professional help during that time, you will understand that there is always another option. We reach to that point, or anyone reaches to that point, when they feel like I don't have any other option, everything is ruined. How I was telling you before, it's okay to be not positive right now, but if you're going in a direction of complete negativity, saying absolute sentences to yourself like nothing is going to go okay, nothing, never, always, everything, only me, these kind of words are called obsolete words. If you're repeating these too many in your head, then you need to apply that analogy of, you're opening the door and you're telling yourself negative things every day. And that is the reason why it feels as if there is no option at all. But there always is. No matter how the situation gets worse externally, please make sure that you take help, because there is help available, a lot of help available everywhere. And specifically, Ravindra, like, kudos to you that you're doing this for everyone, so that everyone will be have access to this. So please go ahead, guys. And if anyone is feeling slightly that way also, even if you're not feeling that way as well, go ahead and connect with a psychologist, with me or anyone else whom I'm going to share numbers with. But go ahead and connect with them. That's definitely going to help you. It will help you out in sorting whatever confusions are happening in your head right now. Yes, you say.
A small supplement to the question is, we have our officers who are very young, unmarried bachelors living in different part of the country. So what is happening? Ki, most of the things which we have seen is those who are living lonely, they feel lonely and they do such kind of things. And reaching out for help quite takes some time before they commit the heinous act. So, my point is, how can we educate our such kind of officers so that their mental health keep them up, and before doing something, they got in touch with anybody whom they confide in some offices or superior supervisor, anybody.
Okay. So of course, sometimes it becomes really difficult for us to, if anyone ever has or have will, or if found themselves in this situation, sometimes what happens is it becomes difficult for us to pick up phone or even think about dialing a number. I understand that. That's completely true. There are few things which we can help out. And this has helped out a lot of my clients. if you don't have yet, keep sketch pens in your house. Have something, or maybe any sketch pen that you feel like is going to help you out, or which is your favorite color or something. Just keep it in your bedside table. Bring that, pick up that, and make something, or draw something on your hands, or anywhere in your body, because this is pertaining to self harm tendencies. Sometimes when we have a self harm tendency, sometimes we get to a point where it becomes really difficult for us to take it. Sometimes we try to feel emotions, and we feel like this is the way that I'm going to feel emotion. So rather than doing that, always take a sketch pen and keep on making something, just doodling or doing something or the other. Once you have done that, or the moment when you do this, you breathe in and breathe out. If you are not even thinking that way, and I can 100% understand that maybe it's possible that you might not be able to, it might not click to you, no matter how accessible it is. The first thing and very easy thing is get out from there. Get out from the room, get out from the any moment or any point you're feeling this way, get out from there. And this is the worst case scenario we're talking. Please take care of it before this happens. Even though if you are getting the slightest ideation, get in contact with somebody, talk to somebody about it. If you're not feel comfortable talking to a psychologist, talk to your friends. If you don't feel comfortable talking to no one, then talk to a psychologist, talk to any kind of helpline. If you don't feel like doing that also, and you feel like during that moment there are certain sudden moments this happen, go ahead, wash your face, go ahead, smell something really nice, go ahead and maybe get into a room where there are a few people available. Maybe go and knock your neighbor's door. Just do that. Go and knock your neighbor's door. They're going to open, and they're going to ask what's happening, and you just say, no, nothing, I'm so sorry, I just wanted to discuss some, ask something, or maybe just ask if they have a banana or something. Just make up some reason, but at that moment take that action, so that you have that moment passed, and then you can dial the phone, and then you can take care of it. But you always have another option. There are people in the world who lose their limbs, and they learn to ride through their legs. So I know our brain, our body, we human beings can adapt very well. I'll give you an example of a research study. See if this if you can associate with this. There was a research study done in US, where a group of people were there who just now won a lottery of 5 crores equivalent. They won a lottery of 5 crore equivalent, and there was this group of people who lost their legs or got paralyzed in a car accident. They had a survey, and they took questionnaires, and they matched whose happiness is more. What do you think, whose happiness would be more? Like the people who got in accident, or the people who
Who
just
got the money? Who got the money?
who got the money, right? Of course, people who got the money would be more happy. That was the case. Of course, that was expected. Now, what happened is they followed up with these groups for a year, and after a year, also they did the same tests. Now, what do you think? What would be the level of happiness of both the groups?
I think those who got the money have adapted to that particular situation, because now they have the same thing all the time. It's like monotony. And I don't know about the happiness, but definitely those people have adapted the circumstances and started living it, because we can't cry all the time.
So the happiness level of both the groups were exactly same, because of course these people were the people who won lottery were really happy, but then they started finding more and more happiness in somewhere else. Of course, day-to-day life becomes more and more, so our perception of happiness, or our perception of what's happening in my life, always comes with what I think about it. And our perception of what I think about my life comes from what I think about myself, and my perception of what I think about myself come from society. And that's where the gap comes, because I mostly focus on things, and I mostly believe as if what other people are saying are true, what I am thinking is also true, and I get into this assumed reality where I think I don't have another choice. A lot of people follow that, and I want you to understand that it's not true. It's definitely not true. You can change your thought patterns very easily. It will take some time, but very easy. You have techniques, you have experts helping you out for that. You can change your mood, and you can change your circumstances as well. There are people who lost everything in life, and I'm not talking about world and inspirational stories. People who I have dealt with, who have lost everything in life, and have still found, because if you don't have anyone else or anything in life, you still have you. As long as you have yourself, there is always hope.
It was a wonderful insight. I'll now ask Priyanka to continue with the questions, and then she can open up the floor after these questions.
I am done with my questions. I will just now want anyone who has their questions, you can drop down in chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask. But one by one, we'll be having a systematic conversation. Anyone?
I'll
तो
address
chat
one,
box में लिखे हैं पहले वो पूछो.
I'll address this one question which is repeated a little bit. How to shut your brain, or maybe what other techniques to use other than breathing technique, what other techniques to use, because I feel like this is the time we do another technique. This technique is called visualization technique, and this helps you out in regulating your mood. This helps you out in regulating your thought patterns, and this helps you out if right now you were, if you're panicking also, it reaches to a point where it helps you out coming out of that as well. I want, if all of you can follow me, just close your eyes once. Close your eyes once, all of you. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Now I want you to imagine yourself in the best vacation on the vacation that you always wanted to go. It could be on a beach, it could be on a mountain, it could be in your own house, it could be with your friends, it could be with your family, it could be you yourself alone. Feel yourself walking or running down that beach and feel the sand and the mountain beneath your legs. When you inhale, feel the air on your face and just simply enjoy being there. That's the best memory that you're going to make for yourself. And that's the best place, that's your happy place. Take all the happiness that you're feeling in that moment to reality and inhale through your nose, take up all the happiness and joy that you're feeling, and exhale through your mouth and open your eyes.
It can be a past memory as well, na? When you actually enjoyed a lot, and that actually you can refresh your old memories also, which makes you happy.
Refresh your own memories. You can refresh somebody else's memory. Every celebrity is going to Maldives right now. Go to Maldives.
Yes, I had this thing only. I wanted to go Maldives.
So this is a visualization technique which helps you out. Other than breathing technique, visualization helps. And I have one more technique that I'm going to tell you, two more techniques that I'm going to tell you later. You can ask questions right now.
One question is, Shikra, what if somebody is scolding us sarcastically and due to the relationship with that person, one can revert with the same frequency? How to pacify ourselves throughout the day?
Okay. All right. If something like this is happening with you, where you're living with somebody who is commenting on you, there could be two possibilities. One possibility is that they, and this is again very subjective, it happens with everyone very differently. One possibility is that we have made our thinking patterns in a way where whenever a person speaks, I think as if this is sarcastic and this is completely on me, and I take it really personally. I'll give you an example and you'll be able to understand how our thinking patterns work. Let's say if one day you start walking or maybe taking evening walks in a park, and you take evening walks in your park and you go up a certain pathway, and one day like you were walking and you were hit by a little rock, and you a little bit hit by, and you little did a skip or something, and you saw that there is this rock here. Second day also you maybe were not aware and the same thing happened. Third day you will become aware of it, right? And you'll become aware of it and you'll try to avoid that rock and you go. And gradually in 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, 7th day, 8th day, you will follow the same pattern until a point comes where it becomes automatic to you. Now you don't even have to think about that rock. It becomes really automatic for you. So you automatically go from that path. Now the same thing will happen, and one day the rock will be removed from there. So you saw that the rock is, oh, fine, I can take that, the path, straight path now. I'll go and I'll try to do that. But then first day I will forget about it. It's not my usual thing. It's not my habit. Second day, I have to push myself and remember and then do this again. So you keep learning and unlearning your thinking patterns your whole life. And sometimes we learn distorted thinking patterns. Sometimes we learn a little unhelpful thinking patterns as well. Like thinking that this person is saying this only to hurt me. This person is only saying this, that means he's sarcastically saying this for, and if it becomes so that it becomes our automatic thoughts. We don't even think about it. We basically us for example, the other person says, can you please get me a glass of water? And you'll be like, I'm working, he can see I'm working, he's still asking me why can't he go, and you automatically go there. Because it has become a pattern of yours that you automatically reach there. Those are called automatic unhelpful patterns. So the first thing that I want you to focus on is see if this is automatic. See if he 100% always means that, or is it that you are thinking or taking it that way. If the other thing is true, if this is not unhealthy pattern and this is what is happening all the time for sure, then it comes to a point where you need to understand that maybe it's been really long since you've been taking this. And it becomes a point where you need to understand that you might not be able to change the other person's pattern. You can try. You've been trying for many years. You might not be able to do that. So it's necessary that I start to work on myself rather than maybe focusing on why does he do it, why does he take it. And the way that to work on yourself, the first step that I'm, of course, when you go to counseling and you take therapy, you go deeper and it is resolved that way. I won't be able to resolve it in 2 seconds, but I'll tell you something to start with. Whenever you hear a triggering thing, right, your muscles get contracted. Every time that you're going to hear a trigger, any trigger meaning anything that's going to affect you, as you're saying, a comment has been made, it comes to your brain and it gets threatened. So a lot of overthinking happens and a lot of bodily symptoms starts happening, as I was explaining before. Use the calming technique, use the breathing technique, use the visualization technique, use all these techniques to then and there maybe calm yourself. Revert to only the things which you need to, otherwise do not engage in that more and more. You don't need to keep on doing that. Understand what's your role in there and just stick to that role. Do not revert into that. Do not indulge into that as more as you need to do. That is going to be a good start. Then you can definitely take counseling.
So one more question is there from Ritesh Kumar. How to calm yourself when something happened exactly opposite to your expectations and you're not able to accept that fact that this actually happened with you.
Ritesh, are you here? Can you hear me? You can unmute yourself if you're here and tell me if you're here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So Ritesh, are you comfortable if I talk to you directly?
Yeah, yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
If something has happened that is not with your expectations, of course, you were thinking something else and something else happened, and you're not being able to accept it. I just want to ask you one question, and
Yes, ma'am.
doesn't mean anything. It's just I'm making a point. What
Yes,
else can you do?
We are not able to decide on that moment whether we have to accept this fact or we have to still in that mood that we were expecting that thing and that should happen. And many days we used to feel like that why it has happened and all these things. So sometimes some person take the wrong decisions, like some like of results, promotions, and if we lose someone in the family and all these things. So many a days we take to accept this fact. So sometimes bad thing happens on the time. So how to calm that thing?
I get that completely. The question which I'm asking is, if you are not ready to accept the fact, I can completely understand it. What happens is, the problem with what happens is something happens which I don't feel like, and of course when that happens, I get into overthinking. I definitely feel angry. I might get irritated, might get frustrated. These are all I explained you before, expected reactions of stress, right?
Yes, yes,
Correct.
yes.
You saw a garbage and you were feeling really, and then you go away. If
Yes.
it's with you, if it doesn't go away and if it stays with you, that means the reason why it stays with you is you take it, you put it in front of you, and you start participating and bargaining. This is called start bargaining with it. You're
Okay.
not being able to accept it because you start, what if this would have happened? Why did this not happen? Why could he say something like this? Why can't I get this? You keep on making sentences which becomes really difficult for you to accept it, because this is a bargaining stage. This is called bargaining.
Yes.
We keep bargaining. There will come a point where you will get tired of it and, okay, like,
Exactly.
I can't do anything about it. I have to. Now, after that, and people suffer with what comes after that. After that, what happens is you have emotional reactions. You will be cranky for a few days, and you have behavioral reactions where whatever is your reality apart from that. For example, if you didn't get a promotion, you will start thinking as if wherever you are in right now, the position that you are in right now, that loses its value. Feel as if this is you take up this is
Kindly mute yourself, please. Other people, kindly mute yourself. It's a lot of disturbances there.
this is called all or nothing thinking. Either it's going to go my way, or otherwise nothing else matters. And if it is happening for you for a few days, I can understand that. If you're still being able to accept it, I can understand that. But while doing that, while being in this process, just try and understand and be compassionate with yourself so that you don't go the unhealthy way. You stay in the healthier way only. Second thing, when these kind of situations are going to happen, you are going to have some sort of effects, expected reactions. Just try and follow some techniques, calming, mindfulness, relaxation, all the other techniques that I'm going to talk about right now also, which is going to help you out in making it easier for you. It's always going to be difficult if I have expected something and it doesn't work out for me, but it's always going to be a process which I follow. And gradually, the more aware you become about your process, the more you will be able to stop yourself and make yourself, okay, fine, this is happening, it's okay, I'll take it lightly. And it will become much easier for you to do that.
Okay. Fine. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for the guidance.
With psychology, the thing is, if anything happens in your body, guys, you can always take a pill. It's going to be fine. Something happens in the body, chemicals, and it's going to be okay. When it comes to psychology and mindset, your thought matters. And changing your thought takes up practice and techniques. It's necessary that we follow some things regular. One is awareness, and second thing is just changing. I'm going to share one more technique with all of you. If you feel like, I think a lot of you will be able to understand this, and a lot of you will be able to answer your questions on the basis of this. This technique basically is called ABC 123. ABC 123 is useful to you when you get into a panicky situation, when you are panicking a lot. This can also be used after, when we were talking about suicides and all that. After you've taken that first step of just getting out of the situation, you can use this. This is going to be helpful. First is awareness. Understand or notice and understand that these are among intense emotions. Has it ever happened to anyone? If there is anyone here who gets really angry, when you get very angry and your body shakes, whenever, if that is happening after that, or if you're panicking or anything, any intense emotions that you're going through, first is to make yourself aware of your body and your surroundings. Just maybe do that technique where you hold your hands a little bit, just rub your hands a little bit, just look around yourself and see where are you. And that's going to give you a seconds of pause. Second thing, breathe. B is breathing. And C is counting the 3 things that you can hear, smell, feel or taste, or remember. For example, remember how coffee tastes. Because this is engaging your 5 senses where you get information from. So you cut off the channel where all the overthinking is happening. So you start counting the things which you can hear, smell, feel or see from your eyes. Then 1, 2, 3 meaning, first thing you're going to ask, what is the first thing that I need to do right now? So I know I can't accept this situation. I know I'm really, really angry. I know this is happening. I know that is happening. What's the first thing that I can do right now? Maybe I can go and wash my face. Maybe I can go and talk to this person. Maybe I can do and finish the task that I'm doing right now. Anything. What is the first next thing that I'm supposed to do? Second, what are the two strengths that I can draw on? What are my two strengths that are going to help me in this situation? And this creates a hopeful sort of an environment with you. What are the two things which are going to help you in this situation? I have dealt with challenges before. I know I can do that. I'm a strong person. I know it's going to take maybe a few more days, but I'm going to talk to my sir and I'm going to, anything that you just examples and giving. Then three is you ask what are the three things that you're grateful about your support systems right now around you. It could not, it's not necessary that it's always people. It could easily be just simply experiences that you had before. It could easily be, small things that I watched this series today and it made me smile. Anything. This helps a lot. If you have children, any parents here, please teach them ABC 1 2 3. It's going to help them a lot. Children understand this very well. Whenever they start getting cranky or whenever they start yelling, teach them to repeat ABC 1 2 3. Even if they don't understand it, just make them repeat this. This is going to help them.
Ma'am, one question is there from, first I'll take from Uday. I think Uday has asked.
I think there is this one person who has mentioned that sometimes only working on yourself doesn't work in every relationship, and it might be another person. True, very true, very, very, very true. What happens here is you get into misery thinking the other person should change. Of course, they should, but you make yourself responsible for changing another person, which is very unhealthy because you won't be able to do that until and unless the person realizes on his own or maybe makes an effort with you. It's going to be really difficult for them to change. So you have the only option or the only thing that you can control right now is maybe changing yourself or making efforts together. If you are being able to do that, go for it. If you're not being able to do that, maybe you need to understand and take some space for yourself, because otherwise you will going back in circles and thinking she should change, or he should change, or maybe just keep on thinking that way, and you will end up feeling helpless because you're not being able to control it. So that's the reason we focus on us. Yes, sorry Priyanka, you were continuing.
For this, I think one question was like how to accept the truth that my colleague next to me few days back is no more with me right now. How to deal with it? Okay. I think it's just an adaptation, I believe.
Okay, see, misunderstanding. This is going to be a little deep, but when you go to therapy, you will understand that many of our thoughts about the person who's sitting in room and you're opening the door and repeating thoughts, many of our thoughts come up from what we think about ourselves. So most of our thoughts which we overthink about are on the basis of our own insecurities. If I believe that I am not a really good communicator, right, I'm not really good in communication, and somebody points that out, it struck me really. I'll give you an example. I give this example to a lot of people. Let's say, for example, you're sitting in a room and in another room there is this one more person who's sitting, and your name is Nimish, right? So let's say that these two people, you can overhear them. These two people are talking about Nimish. This Nimish, no, and he, just making really bad comments about Nimish, and you are getting angry sitting there. And you were just about to get up and go there, and these people said, "Are Nimish, that Nimish, that Nimish who lives in US, though that Nimish." Like just an instant, all your anger will go away. It's just because of that, because you, whatever the people are going to say or whatever misunderstanding happened, it happens because we either agree with it or we get into really defensive mode. If misunderstandings are happening, it's sometimes it's okay to laugh on it also. Sometimes it's completely okay if you just simply understand that things are not always going to be the way that I think. Things are sometimes it's going to happen that I also make a mistakes. It's fine. If you had a misunderstanding and you had to go to an embarrassing moment, there is no, everyone who's all 61 people here, they've had embarrassing moments in their life. So you're not alone who had an embarrassing moment. Every one of us have had that. It's completely okay. You need to take it really lightly.
There is actually, I want to build up on Uday's question. Uday wanted to see we have many officers whom we lost during COVID. So his question is, how we deal with sudden loss? Ki somebody who is a colleague who is sitting behind us and suddenly he is no more. After 10-15 days, we come to know. Then how to take up that loss, immediate loss?
See, this is a question which I feel like applies to most of us, because a lot of us are going through this, even if not our near or dear ones. We have heard a news or the other for sure. Right now, the situation has become that we at least have heard news about losing people for sure. And sometimes it becomes, specifically when it's near or dear one, or maybe some people who we lose, it becomes really difficult for us to do that. It's very necessary that you let yourself feel things. In grief, and this is called grief. In grief, what happens many a times, that we feel as if I should not be able to, I should not go through this for a very long period of time. It's not a process that you can measure in time. It's a process that you can measure in steps. And this is related to grief for sure. First anger is always, sometimes anger or anxiety comes with grief. Grief is a really complex emotion. Sometimes with grief, anger and anxiety comes. So when anger and anxiety is coming, you need to understand and you need to tackle the anger and anxiety part. And more or the other, you need to control anxiety and anger part in relation to grief with compassion, because you can't make up for whatever you have lost. It's not possible. But if we give ourselves enough patience to feel the negativity, it's completely necessary that we do that, and we understand this is going to be temporary. This is not going to be permanent. You're not always going to feel this way. You definitely, whenever we go through an uncomfortable or unpleasant experience, we tend to believe as if this is going to stay with me. This is not going to stay with me. It gets better. It definitely gets better over time. Grief is something where you need to have a lot of patience. Grief is something that you need to express. The more that you will express this, the more comfortable you get with it. Talk to your family members about it. Talk to your friends about it. Write about it. Talk to somebody near. If in office something like that has happened, maybe make a group and talk to your fellow people who are feeling the same way about it, and be okay with your emotions. We don't need to push ourselves to come out of grief ever, because this is something that's going to happen gradually, and this is something that's definitely going to happen for sure. Take some time for yourself. Don't push yourself to get into, right now if your tolerance levels are very down and you're feeling really sad, don't push yourself to do things which you're not supposed to do right now. Don't push yourself to do things which you can avoid. Take maybe 1 or 2 days of leave if you can. Maybe if you can't do that also, maybe take up some things which are because this happens whenever we are grieving, or whenever it hits us. 2-3 things happens with it. First is, maybe we start feeling, what if this happens with me? We get into overthinking. Second thing what happens is, sometimes we get into a loop of why am I not being able to concentrate, and other things which behaviorally comes with it. Try and understand and be patient about that, because it's not going to be really, your brain is not working the same way that it was before you heard the news. So take some time for yourself, be compassionate, show support, and express it the way that whatever way that you can. However you can, maybe just show your support to the family. Maybe think about the memories that you spent with this person, and be grateful about the memories that you had for this person.
Well said, ma'am. I think it was a very insightful thoughts and conversation we had. So just to wrap up, I would like to invite our patron, Mr. Ravinder Singh, who is our General Secretary of our union, to say some word of thanks to you. Mr. Ravinder Ji.
Thanks, Chavi, for being such a wonderful guest, and Priyanka, as usual, a wonderful host. In fact, this was a responsibility I gave her very short, with a very short time period for preparation, but she did well. I pity those who were not able to attend the workshop. I really pity them, because during those times, whenever we are clinging on to social media or television or anything, we are looking for such news. We are looking for such news which are helping us to stay well-being. Our mental well-being is good. कभी भी आप देखेंगे हम कुछ भी पढ़ने की कोशिश करते तो उसमें ऐसी कोई चीज आती है ना कि कोविड के दौरान कैसे अपने मन को शांत रखें, हम इमीडिएटली पढ़ेंगे. And here we are organizing such kind of workshop for the mental well-being at their home on a lousy day, on a Sunday, being in home, wherein people are not going out on Sundays, where people can do it. So that is how we work. In fact, let it be. It was a very wonderful insight. You spoke.
No, but Ravindra, the world is changing. I can vouch for that. I have seen people becoming more and more aware about their mental health and focusing more and more on that. I am actually very happy that 62 people
Yeah,
joined.
true.
I am really like commendable. Thank you so much, guys, for joining this. Even if it helps you out in in small way, also that's going to be job well done. Congratulate yourself for taking care of
Yeah.
this.
The next line was my only. I congratulate those 60, 65, 70 guys who have joined this on Sunday and attended the program, because actually it is going to help them in life somewhere or the other. I always, when I took my first meditation class or some kind of psychology class, I always thought, kya hai ye, how will it help? But it have helped me to go a long way. So similarly, I help. This is a help which Charvi have extended to all our officers who are working in a high pressure environment, and we would like you keep your mental well-being on a priority. Take care of yourself. Think positive. Be negative, and try to be joyful. Take deep breaths and bring a smile on your face. Wear a smile, walk in style. That's the mantra of the day. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for attending.
So we have to be positive, not COVID positive.
So much, Ravindra. It was amazing. I'm kudos to you for organizing this, and thank you so much for giving me opportunity. Also, I had a great time.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.